No, I don't worry. I tell you, I'm a man who believed that I died 20 years ago. And I live like a man who is dead already. I have no fear whatsoever of anybody or anything.
You said, Minister Malcolm, you have to expect the Negroes to rise up sooner or later.
Oh, yes.
What does that mean?
Well, just the same thing that it meant in South Vietnam and these other places where you find oppressed people. Sooner or later, they rise up against the oppressor. When the Jews were being brutalized in Poland, there came a time when they couldn't take it anymore, and they fought back. They didn't have too much to fight with, but they fought back. And I think every oppressed people, no matter how meek and humble they are, after you drive them so far, they're going to strike back.
Yeah, neighborhood that bustin'. Giving a shout out right now to SPR in the streets. Y'all already know what it is. Source and air. It's neighborhood net hustling. Big shout out to SPR, Spotter Low. You know I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.
They say in America we don't get taught history, we get taught his story. And I believe that's true. And I think when you hear titles like this, it's evident. Because I didn't know they was KKKKs. You know what I'm saying? I would have loved to have heard about the KKKKs. You digitalize. But yeah, I don't know. They ain't gonna tell us about this because it's probably be inspiring for others to repeat the activity. You dig a lot. But with no further ado, let's hear what these KKKKs have been up to. The Ku Klux Klan killers.
It's the American frontier, 1866. White America had just survived a civil war that nearly tore the nation apart. They thought they could control what came next, including 4 million newly freed black people. They were wrong. In July of that same year, something unprecedented happened. Congress authorized the creation of the first peacetime all-black army regiments, 6 regiments of armed, disciplined, federally backed black soldiers. But these weren't just any military units. They were about to become one of the most feared and respected fighting forces in American history.
I wonder, is this what the movie Glory was based on? If you haven't seen Glory, do yourself a favor and treat yourself to that film. It is a great film. In my opinion, it's Denzel Washington's greatest work. Although I have not seen every film that Denzel has been in. I've probably seen maybe a good 20 to 30%, and he has extensive work. But Glory, excellent performance.
Men who would earn a name that struck terror into the hearts of racists across the frontier. The Plains tribes called them Buffalo Soldiers. Warriors as fierce and unstoppable as the sacred buffalo. What happened next was so extraordinary that white officers would literally quit their commissions rather than command these men. These regiments were led by men like Charles Young and Henry Flipper. And they would accomplish something that had never been done before, forcing racist America to respect black military excellence. This is the story about soldiers who turned the uniform into a weapon of resistance. A story about black men who became America's first park rangers. In 1866, Congress creates the first peacetime all-black army regiments, the 9th and 10th Cavalry, and the 24th and 25th Infantry. For black men fresh out of slavery, this was like hitting the lottery. Steady pay of $13 a month when most black folks were making pennies. 3 meals a day, a roof over your head.
That right there is some of the best proof that the prison industry is just an extension of slavery. That's the type of wages you make for busting your all day long.
And something white America couldn't stand, respect that came with the uniform. These weren't just jobs, they were paths to dignity in a country that had spent centuries denying black people basic humanity. The Army offered structure, purpose, and most importantly, weapons. Backed by federal authority, for the first time in American history, black men could walk tall, armed, and legally protected. But white America was not having it. White officers literally quit rather than command black troops. Some took demotions just to avoid leading these regiments. George Armstrong Custer, yeah, that Custer, refused to command black soldiers even though it cost him a promotion. The Army responded by sending these black regiments to the absolute worst, most dangerous, most isolated posts they could find. The Wild West frontier, where survival wasn't guaranteed and backup was days away. They got the worst equipment, leftover Civil War gear that was falling apart. Their horses were broken down, their saddles barely fit. Commanding officers wrote angry letters about how these men were being set up to fail with trash equipment. The message was clear. We'll give you this opportunity, but we'll make damn sure you fail at it. These soldiers had a choice. Prove the racists right by failing, or do something that would shake white America to its core. By the way, if you're enjoying the content so far, it would mean the world to me if you were to hit that subscribe button down below. I'm trying to spread these black stories to everyone, and I want each and every one of you to help out. Now, back to the video. Buffalo soldiers chose excellence as their weapon. Here's a stat that probably made racist heads explode. Buffalo soldiers had lower desertion rates than white troops, lower court-martial rates too. Despite being treated like dirt, they stayed disciplined and professional. They earned 18 Medals of Honor, the highest military honor in America, given to black men that society said weren't even fully human. They protected mail routes through hostile territory when everyone else said it was impossible. They built roads, escorted settlers, and fought off raiders. They did jobs that white regiments failed at or refused to do. Every victory, every mission completed, every life saved was a middle finger to everyone who said black men couldn't be real soldiers. Their excellence wasn't just professional, it was revolutionary. Every time they succeeded where others failed, they destroyed another piece of the racist mythology that justified their oppression. But their success started earning them something even more dangerous than respect. Native American tribes they fought against respected them so much, they gave them the name Buffalo Soldiers. In Plains Indian culture, the buffalo was sacred, powerful, nearly impossible to kill. That name was respect from warriors who knew courage when they saw it. Buffalo Soldiers became America's first park rangers at Yosemite, Sequoia, and what's now Kings Canyon National Park. They built trails, fought wildfires, stopped poachers, and protected the wilderness. They were stewarding America's natural treasures before the National Park Service even existed. Captain Charles Young became the first black superintendent of a national park. So competent that even racist America couldn't deny his abilities. They weren't just soldiers anymore. They were symbols. Proof that black excellence couldn't be contained, couldn't be hidden, couldn't be denied. But that's exactly what made them so dangerous to white supremacy. In 1906, Brownsville, Texas, black soldiers from the 25th Infantry are stationed at Fort Brown. The white townspeople hate having disciplined armed black men nearby. One night, shots are fired in town. One white man is killed, another wounded. Immediately, and I mean immediately, the white townspeople blamed the black soldiers. No investigation, no evidence, no trial. President Theodore Roosevelt, the same guy who supposedly believed in American values, dishonorably discharged 167 black soldiers overnight, without a trial, without evidence, without basic justice. 167 men, some with 20 years of service, some with medals for bravery, all destroyed by presidential racism with the stroke of a pen. The message was crystal clear. It didn't matter how well you served, how bravely you fought, or how loyal you were. In racist America, you were still a black man first, and that made you guilty until proven innocent. If the system would betray even its most
Ain't changed to this day. That's crazy.
loyal servants, black communities had to find new ways to fight back. Enter Charles Young, a man so competent that racist America had to conspire to stop him. Young was only the third black graduate of West Point, and from day one, he was marked as dangerous, not because he was violent, but because he was brilliant. Young served with distinction everywhere they sent him. He was a natural leader, spoke multiple languages, and had a mind for strategy that impressed even his racist colleagues. He advocated for his black troops, fought for better conditions, and refused to bow down to white supremacist expectations. When black soldiers had a problem, they had an advocate. When the military tried to hide their achievements, Young made sure they got recognition. He represented something terrifying to white supremacy. A black man who couldn't be intimidated, couldn't be bought, and couldn't be ignored. But when World War I started, Young was about to cross a line that white America would never allow. Charles Young was in line to become the highest-ranking black officer in American history, potentially commanding white troops. And white America lost its absolute mind. They forced him into retirement under fake medical claims, said he had high blood pressure and couldn't serve. You know what Young did? He rode his horse 500 miles from Ohio to Washington, D.C. to prove he was physically fit. 500 miles on horseback at age 55, just to call out their obvious lie. This wasn't about his health. This was about making sure no black man ever got too much power in the American military. Young had become too competent, too respected, too dangerous to white supremacy. They would rather weaken their own military than let a black man command white soldiers. Young's dramatic protest became something bigger than one man's career. Young's 500-mile horseback ride became a symbol of resistance that echoed across black America.
This is why whether he did something for him or not, blacks were just proud to see somebody like Obama in the White House. Facts.
The black press covered it extensively. The NAACP rallied support. Black communities across the country saw what was happening. If they could do this to Charles Young, a West Point graduate with an impeccable record, they could do it to anyone. Buffalo Soldiers weren't just individual soldiers anymore. They had become symbols of black pride and possibility. When they rode into a town, black folks saw what they could become: disciplined, respected, armed, and unafraid. And white racists saw their worst nightmare: black men with power who couldn't be lynched or intimidated. There are records of black communities writing to the War Department, begging for Buffalo Soldiers to be stationed nearby, because they knew these men would protect them when no one else would. But the military had other plans for these soldiers, plans that would test their moral compass. The same government that betrayed Buffalo Soldiers at home sent them to enforce American imperialism abroad. In the Philippines, they fought to suppress Filipino independence fighters. Against native tribes, they enforced the government's westward expansion that displaced indigenous peoples from their ancestral lands. Buffalo Soldiers found themselves in the impossible position.
Dang, so the white man had us fighting the indigenous. That's deep. Unwillingness, it wasn't their intentions, but they fought that war too. That's crazy.
Of oppressing other oppressed peoples. It's a harsh reality of how systems of power work. They'll use one marginalized group to control another. These men, who knew oppression intimately, were being used as tools of someone else's oppression. But here's what's remarkable. Some Buffalo Soldiers recognized this contradiction. In the Philippines, more black soldiers deserted to join Filipino rebels than from any other American units. They understood oppression when they saw it, because all lived it every day. Even when used as tools of empire, some chose resistance over complicity. Despite the betrayals, the contradictions, and the systematic racism, Buffalo Soldiers carved out space for black excellence inside a system designed to destroy them. Every promotion, every medal, every act of courage was a crack in the wall of white supremacy. They proved that excellence could be a form of resistance. They showed that dignity couldn't be taken away, only given up. They demonstrated that armed, disciplined black men were not a threat to democracy, not were democracy's greatest defenders. These men didn't just wear the uniform. They redefined what it meant to be an American soldier. They served the country that hated them and fought enemies foreign and domestic, including the racism within their own ranks. Their legacy became proof that black Americans could serve with distinction while fighting the very system that oppressed them. The Buffalo Soldiers fought every enemy America sent them against, and the enemy America refused to admit existed: racism itself. They scared racist America because they showed what black people could accomplish when given half a chance. Armed, disciplined, unbreakable, and proud. Their service laid the groundwork for military integration, civil rights progress, and every black person who would wear the uniform after them. They proved that black excellence couldn't be denied, no matter how hard white supremacy tried to suppress it. So the next time someone tries to tell you that black people didn't contribute to American history, remind them about the Buffalo Soldiers, men who turned oppression into opportunity, uniforms into weapons of resistance. and fear into respect. They were badass black soldiers who terrified white America by refusing to be anything less than excellent. And in doing so, they changed what it meant to be both black and American forever.
I told my son no regrets, as long as he gave his best. And it's cool to spend a little, but to say the rest. First rule of nature, take care of self. Cherish health, be wary and careful with who you share your wealth. Suggest to get accustomed to making sacrifice. And that's advice from one familiar with the facts of life. Told him I support him, always there for him, promise. But he'll never know no love like his mama's. Remain humble, always guard your gift. It's easy to find trouble and so hard to miss it. Pay attention, be careful what you take for granted. Acknowledge God, a higher power had to make the planet. When it comes to romance, first thing, know a woman could be the best or the worst thing for you. Real men tell the truth, they never gossip though. Stand for something knowing nothing is impossible.
I knew you was gonna be important. Anyway, I wanted to be somebody you could look up to.
About raising a black boy in America. Growing up, I didn't always understand in the way that I do now. Always keep your hands where they can see them. Don't move too quickly. Take off your hood when the sun goes down.
With these words of wisdoms, I will write my son. Won't bullshit with him, I won't bite my tongue. Admonish him to follow his visions instead of religion. Sound backwards, but receiving ain't better than giving. Forgive those that wrong him, but never forget them. For a coward to be dead is much better than living. At age 17, I was headed for prison, and that's pathetic, so we got to make better decisions. It's natural for men to go together with women. Be cautious of anyone that try to tell him it isn't. The man, he understand how to handle this scandalous system. They stack the deck against the black man and gamble against him. This evil world, even police can be horrible people. Make sure we know there's a difference between moral and legal. When approaching proposition, you should question it properly. No question it properly. You should consider investing it properly. Get it?
You listening? To bring the property value down. They can buy the land at a lower price. Then they move all the people out, raise the property value, and sell it at a profit. And what we need to do is we need to keep everything in our neighborhood, everything black. Black owned with black money. Just like the Jews, the Italians, the Mexicans, and the Koreans do.
Fuck Charlie Kirk! Fuck Charlie Kirk! Fuck Charlie Kirk! Fuck Charlie Kirk! Racist bastard! Racist bastard! Piss on your ashes! Piss on your ashes! Spit on your grave! Spit on your grave! I'll never be a slave! 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 Fuck Charlie Kirk! Fuck Charlie Kirk! Fuck Charlie Kirk! Fuck Charlie Kirk! Racist bastard! Racist bastard! Piss on your ashes! Piss on your ashes! Piss on your ashes! Piss on your ashes! Spit on your grave! Spit on your grave! I'll never be a slave! I'll never be a slave! Fuck Charlie Kirk! Fuck Charlie Kirk! Fuck Charlie Kirk! Fuck Charlie Kirk! Racist bastard! Racist bastard! Piss on your ashes! Piss on your ashes! Spit on your...
Good net hustle. Big shout out to SPI, Spotter Low. You know I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.